there was like some sort of Forbes article earlier or late last year, in 2018, that said, essentially that to be successful, it just involves not quitting, and you have to sit there and hustle and grind and work 80-hour work weeks. And that's kind of been a thread that I've always kind of, fought against. We kind of talked about a bit about it 2 weeks ago in episode 17 with the whole how to be successful in grad school and life in general. And so we've kind of already talked about that one. But, I still hear these every single day, and I'm like, and it's kind of starts grating on me. The second evolution to this ended up kind of being that over kind of January and the beginning of this month, a lot of people I've seen on like my social media feeds have been posting kind of, I guess, millennial bashing articles, for lack of a better statement. So they would, post the rigmarole of millennials are lazy and entitled. It's kind of what a lot of articles say when you type millennials and bad things in the same thing and you put it into Google, and you're into the same Google search. But the one that kind of specifically got my attention and kind of got me riled up, and if we had a Jamie here, I would say put it up on the screen and we could all see this. And it was in context of kids, and I guess that's what kind of really made me more emotionally attached to this idea. And I'm just gonna, and I actually saved the picture, so I'm gonna just read it out. And it has some kids playing on the left, and then it has this text, and it says, when my daughter says, not that the daughter matters, but when my kid says, this is too hard, or I don't like it, or I want to quit, I wish that she would understand that life is always going to be hard and not always to her liking. Period. That quitting is not an option when you have people depending on you. That's when I simply look at her and say, put on your martial arts uniform and let's go to class. And
yeah, there are a lot of different things there.
And usually Facebook, these statements don't usually trigger me so hard. I kind of laugh at their vagueness, but personally, I think that what was said there is quite a dangerous and misleading statement. So before I kind of go into my own opinion, Teo, you sounded like you had some sort of initial reaction when I said that. You're like, oh, I get where he's going now with this.
Well, I'm not. I don't know if I get exactly where you're going, but just with that meme that you quoted, it sort of conflated the value of having responsibility with, well, I guess doing something that you like. That might not make sense. Like the kid would be complaining that could be complaining about doing something that they don't really like doing. Maybe what they're doing. Oh, okay, great. You've got screen share going.
I'm
right,
Jamie
this is
now,
too
guys.
hard. Thanks, Jamie. Right. So when the kid says this is too hard,
Yeah.
I don't like it, or I want to quit, that very well could be just because she doesn't want to do that thing. Maybe if she was doing something else, she wouldn't want to quit, and so therefore it's not it's not a question of, is she responsible, right? Like that's a different point entirely.
So Gunnar, what is your initial knee jerk?
Yeah, well, in terms of what, like, just the quitting, because like I agree with Teo that the this karate class probably isn't equivalent to like personal responsibility, but I think it's a common struggle with people on how to teach children lessons, and maybe one of the ways that has been successful is doing something that encourages them to go out of their comfort zones and push their boundaries and get uncomfortable, because I'm a big believer in the fact that you don't grow as a person unless you're uncomfortable. And so as a parent, you almost have to push your child to be uncomfortable and to get in those positions, or else they won't grow. So like if it was harming her in any way to go to karate class, yeah, I would be a bit more sentimental towards her and a bit more empathetic. But you know, what's working out gonna like rolling around. Just the other day we were talking about how jiu-jitsu is a great thing for people to just do to be happy, not only because it's exercise, but it's also community. So I don't know. I think that on some level, the crux of my argument is that parents kind of owe it to their children to put them into uncomfortable positions so that they can learn from that, or else children will just stay children.
So the one thing that I think I have to start with commenting on is the theme of that nothing that taking them feasibly, if we just keep this context of children, taking them to this class will not do them harm. Now, I guess the psychologist in me wants to ask, what do you mean by harm? Because how do you know it doesn't harm them?
Well, like, I don't know what metric specifically karate class would affect negatively, but I'm sure that the overall benefits outweigh the possible negatives. Like, I used to take Taekwondo when I was a kid, and I like the types of things that they teach in like martial arts specifically are really not harmful opinions, and the skills that they try to teach you aren't really that harmful, and they're more kind of like guided towards self-discipline and self-defense rather than, I don't know, like putting yourself into an unnecessary, uncomfortable position and doing horrible psychological damage. They stress the idea of perseverance and that, yeah, like it's one of the main things, one of the main themes that comes up in martial arts is you have to persevere through it. So I don't know. I can't see it doing any long-term harm. Maybe if like something happened that like they broke a leg or something. Karate Kid.
I mean, there could be harm in, like there could be a high opportunity cost. Maybe they really don't want to do karate. Maybe they really want to do, I don't know, fencing or something.
That's a really good point. I think that you could be doing something better with your time.
Yeah.
Because Teo, I'm just going to go run with your idea because you got there quicker than I anticipated this conversation going.